And with that, I had in fact the chance to join medical program. They don't go to him with so much of courage, and he pushed me into that ocean of like, he just made me to swim without knowing anything. 3 months I did not have any client. I was only doing promotions. I was actually approaching people. People were not approaching me. So it's not that you have to rely 100% on an AI.
I don't know how you are and if you have anything. I am very awkward talking about money. You want to respect yourself and your time. So talking about money can be very challenging. Do you have any tips there?
What I do is I give them a package.
Steve Jobs once said, "Innovation is the only way to win." Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things eye care. And this is your host, Ukti Vora. Before we dive into this another amazing episode, please don't forget to follow my channel and catch all the episodes on your favorite platform. Today, we have an inspiring guest, Dr. Gopinath Madeswaran, a distinguished academic, clinician, and researcher in the field of optometry, a gold medalist from the Elite School of Optometry and Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Dr. Gopinath also holds a UK fellowship in dispensing optics. He currently serves as a faculty member at the Achyuta Institute of Optometry and leads the Low Vision Clinic in Erode. With over 15 research publications in Edge Index of 5 and multiple national accolades, including the Best Optometry Educator Award 2023, the Distinguished Alumni Award from Manipal Academic of Higher Education, his contribution to education and research are widely celebrated by all their colleagues, especially in India, that I know. He is a celebrity within the Indian optometry community and beyond, I'm sure. Beyond academia, he is the founder of Opto Research Consultancy Services and Opto Research Academy. I don't know where he finds the time to do everything, but I'm sure he's done it all and he focuses and tries to do it more. Through all of his research consultancy as well as the academy, he is trying to mentor, and he has already mentored more than 100 clients in research and guided over 300 healthcare faculty members in writing research proposal as well as academic development. Dr. Gopinath is truly shaping the next generation of healthcare researchers and educators, and I'm really thrilled to have him with us today. With that, a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Ukti, for hosting me at your podcast. And I'm truly honored to be here. Let's begin the conversation. Over to you.
Yes, absolutely. I have recently known you. Like I always knew about your work, but I never had a chance to interact until recently when we are collaborating on different projects. And I've realized that how much of dedication, clarity you have in the work you do. You're extremely thorough. But before I get into all the details of the amazing work you do, I actually want to go back to things when everything started. Like optometry, especially, I'm sure when you started or when I started in India, it's not a very well established program, right? I'm sure, and I think I'm right, that you might have also bumped into optometry unless you had someone in your family who was an optometrist. So if you bumped into optometry, tell me about your story. How did you ended up in optometry and in this space?
Yeah, sure. So, as many says, they bumped into optometry by choice or just happened. I would not say that because I had a clarity of joining optometry when I was in my 10th grade because my dad is an optometrist and I used to visit wherever he was working. So, initially, he was at Oman as an optometrist. Then he came back to India and he was leading in, you might be knowing about Lotus Eye Care Hospitals, which is in branched out in Tamil Nadu. So he was the lead optometrist over there. And then he was also serving as an optometrist in Lawrence and Mayo for quite some time. And then he started his practice in 2006 or 5. And I was in my eighth or ninth grade that time, and I realized, okay, this is what I wanted to take it up. And to be frank, I did not apply for any other program other than optometry. Even like during my times, like in 2008 9, that was the time where people used to join in medical programs as well as engineering streams after completing their 12th standard. And there was no much of competitive exams which are there right now, like NEET or JEE, whatever it is. That time it was like only from your percentage and scores. And with that, I had, in fact, the chance to join medical program. So I had a good grade so that I could join medical program. But I insisted my dad, okay, I wanted to pursue optometry, and I applied in two institutions. One is where I studied, that is Elite School of Optometry, and another one which is an university based in Chennai. And as both places I got the chance. In fact, at Elite School, it was very competitive to get in because over 80 people gave the interview and entrance for only for 30 seats. And we were only 29 among them in my batch. And I was the only Tamil speaking guys out of three. Other two guys were from Karnataka, and another one was from Andhra Pradesh. So that's how I ended up joining optometry. And I don't have any regrets of choosing it right now because I'm doing whatever I can possible. So this is about joining optometry as a program. Then it's a story. Like I then joined masters and PhD. Maybe I think I will explain in a while. Yeah, this is how I ended up taking up optometry. Yes.
I think your dad actually did set up a very high standard for you, and that's why we feel you are what you have done and what you're doing is inspiring. But I think you already had a big shoe to fill when you decided to join optometry because your dad was already leading, like and creating like so much of eye care and providing so much of knowledge and information in optometry already. So I think that's a great inspiring story for us to know like how it all started and how you were like so passionate about eye care. And now I can truly understand where your passion from eye care comes from. But your dad, as you mentioned, right, or you might have already seen like practicing and seeing patients was one of the many paths which optometrists usually take. But I have known you for quite some time, and you are very much inclined on the research side as well. So I want to, and that's where you pursued your like PhD, and now you have your consulting services. So I want to understand how did you shifted from like practicing optometrist in a clinic versus research? Because research and practice, though they are interconnected, it's two different beasts altogether. So you were an excellent student throughout the journey. You have won awards even as a student, as a faculty, and then you are like, no, I'm just going to focus on research. So tell me how that transition happened and when did you decide this is where you want to be?
To be frank, I never wanted to be a researcher. In and 2013, I was doing my internship at Shankanetralaya, and that's when I got a clinical excellence award for as a being a good intern for 1 year, being like a very disciplined without taking even a single day holiday. And I had 100% attendance during my internship, which has never been. No one has broken that record so far in my institution. And when I finished my internship, I thought, okay, let me become a good clinician, come back home, and then support my dad and start some more clinical practice and build upon from there. And suddenly, you to be like, I had a minor accident, and I broke my left hand, and I had to be in home for a couple of months for recovering. And then I decided, let me join Nethralaya as an optometrist. I joined there. Simultaneously, there was an opening of a junior research fellow, and it was a totally a new way of looking at the research because it was a collaborative research where Indian Institute of Optometry physics people and bioengineering and as well as a psychophysics team was involved. And you might be knowing about Dr. Krishna Kumar, who was my principal and my boss. And he was like, Gopi, come join this interesting a fellowship, and then maybe you decide whether you want to pursue research or not in the future. And that actually helped me deciding, okay, how I'm going to turned to be a good clinical researcher. So during my internship, I accumulated all my clinical skills. And then I had a very great opportunity at Netralaya because 2 days I was involved in clinical, 2 days I was into teaching, and 2 days I was in research during the junior research fellow program. So the 1.5 years to 2 years of time really helped me to understand how I'm going to take it up further. So that's when I had the passion towards low vision care, where I'm actually doing more towards clinical care, and then teaching with respect to teaching ocular diseases and some research methodology, and again research. So that's the seed which has started in 2013-14, and then gradually the fun got over, and then I had decided, okay, it's been 2 years I was there at Netralaya, and I moved to Manipal for my masters. And Manipal actually, the place is itself is a global place where you will be able to interact with multiple universities, faculty members, and collaborative research. And I was fortunate to have a wonderful mentors like Dr. Krishna Kumar. Next being Dr. Ramesh S.V., who
Yeah.
is a professor, and he's one of the faculty entrepreneur who turned to be a first faculty entrepreneur from Manipal in 2016-17. In fact, that made me to push my consultancy and roll out my consultancy. He was the first inspiring person. And then during masters, I again collaborated with computer science engineering team, and that built up my multidisciplinary approach, mainly how collaborative we can come up with new solutions and problems. And yeah, that's how I ended up taking up again another opportunity of junior research fellow that turned to be a PhD program, and a gradual one slow steps I took. I did not jump into multiple steps. And during PhD, yes, it was again a multidisciplinary team. I had to work with ophthalmologists, speech and hearing team, qualitative research people. So that gave a wider opening for me. And during the 4.5 to 5 years of time, I had the opportunity to understand what is research. And I also had a clarity, okay, research, having a PhD is not the end. That's a starting point where they say, okay, this is the certificate you are given so that you are eligible to do some research. That's a clarity I had. And then yeah, that's how it happened. And I submitted my thesis, came back home. I was waiting for a week, and then I did not get any opportunity that time. I will just pause it here and then take to the story of like how I rolled out my company. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
how I my research journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's pause because I think I have learned a couple of things in your story that you share. If I had to pick like my top two learnings, one is the fact like following sometimes what your mentor says, right? So you probably didn't know much about research, and you said you never wanted to be a researcher. You were so focused on clinical and clinical practice. But this exposure, which you just blindly followed because you had a mentor who was like, hey, why don't you come and try it? And giving your 100% there. Because sometimes, because you don't like it, someone is telling you you might do it out of respect, but you might not think about it as an opportunity to experiment something. I think what you did and what you're trying to share is very important for, I would say, young optometrists or anyone who is trying to do something different. That join some internship, some program, some course where you can test waters. Do you really like it? I mean, luckily you felt it was something that's exciting. I could be the one, I'm like, I'm never ever going to do research. But that way I'm not too far or too deep into it and then regretting. It's like, a good way to test it out. And I think following it or looking at these opportunities or keeping your open mind, I think that's another great learning from what you shared. Whether it was like, there are great mentors everywhere, but keeping their eyes and ears open and accepting things to just try it out. I think that's a great learning that you shared. And I think that's where you didn't even realize you were building something so big and so amazing. It was just probably your attitude towards learning and curiosity that helped you get where you are today.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I totally accept on your point of following the mentors. I am very happy that I had wonderful mentors because they're very strict bosses. Like they want on
Yeah.
time and they are very punctual. They look up to you in a different way and they expect you to do everything on a given time. Multitasking aspects, yeah, that's what I learned during the last decade. Multitasking with mainly when I talk about Dr. KK, he used to tell me, okay, you just go and meet the chairman or the chief ophthalmologist who was Dr. S.S. Badrinath sir.
Yeah.
And I had to go and meet him in front of his room, wait for some time, interact with him, and then get an appointment. People were looking at me like, okay, you are going to meet the chief and you are just graduated. People are there who are very senior. They don't go to him with so much of courage, and he pushed me into that ocean of like he just made me to swim without knowing anything. So that actually helped me interacting with big people, especially higher position, how politely we can interact, and that is actually helping me now to go and approach multiple institutions, principals to for collaborations and initiating newer aspects. Yeah.
I think there's this one quote that I've recently learned and I like to follow is, being comfortable for of being uncomfortable, right? Like you have to start making yourself feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. I think that's what he was trying to test. And I think one other thing where, you just hinted about your consulting services, and I actually wanted to focus on the fact that we talk about mentorship, we talk about like, your work, how we got these opportunities. But when we look at mentorship or mentors who are helping you or guiding you to kind of push yourself, I think it's very important for my listeners and even for us in general to remember that a mentorship does not mean that to just blindly follow and not listen to your heart or not identify gaps. Mentors are just there to guide you in terms of when you're blocked or when you are like lost or when you're losing confidence or when you're questioning yourself or when you're getting too comfortable. I think those are the places where the mentors help you. But exactly what you did was like, you've been in this research, you've been doing your PhD, you've been around these distinguished, clinicians and researchers and entrepreneurs, but you didn't just decide to be there and like, work in a university, which could have been easily your path forever. You actually identified a gap and decided to put it into action based on everything that you've learned. And I think one of the quote that I've seen recently from something that you mentioned on your website and your mission and vision, and correct me if I'm wrong, was to create a space where you could contribute to research, teaching, and impart evidence-based practice for healthcare professionals. So you're trying to fill in the gap of between like, how to put all these things together because you had an opportunity to kind of build all these blocks. Maybe I don't. And that's where your experience can or expertise can help me unblock in terms of my journey. So tell me a little more about your consultancy services as well as your academy.
As soon as I submitted my thesis, it was in May 2022, and then I had no other option because full-time PhD scholars after some time they don't get stipend, and I was in Manipal for 6 months without without earning any single penny because I had to save everything, and then I lived like that, and I had my wife and my like 1 year old daughter. Handling everything was very difficult that time, and as fortunately my family supported and came back home. And believe me, when I submitted my thesis, and there were a lot of scholars along with me, they were like, Gopi, you completed on time and we are happy for you. We do not know how you pushed all these things with all alone, and you had great mentors and all those things. And they were like, Gopi, if you have any, if you can contact you for any support, would you be able to help us? And we are ready to pay for that as well. So
Hmm.
actually, that sparked me from other departments, not from optometry. I am telling, since I was in a university setup, we had team from physiotherapy, audiology, and speech language pathology. So all the people were there. And that's when it sparked me, okay, let me think of running something as a consultancy. I wanted to keep it very, very ethical. If you can, I can share the SOPs maybe later. I first SOP I point in my consultancy I thought was like a I will not do anything from scratch for you. I will take it only after you complete 20-30% of your work, and anything plagiarized I'm not going to support
Hmm.
without faculty's consent or the supervisor consent, at least via email, I'm not going to support you.
Hmm.
So I had a very strict ethical considerations, and I thought, okay, let me get it clarified by some of my peer people. That is, I approached Dr. Ramesh because he was my PhD mentor, and another person was Dr. Rizwana.
Hmm.
So both of them were like, okay, I showed the idea to them. I said, okay, I want to run a consultancy and paid as a paid service. And next day, I developed the logo and named it as Opto Research Consultancy Services. Within a week, I just launched it. Believe me, I had a support from Dr. Ramesh. He mentioned, okay, you have to register in Startup India, MSME, wherever possible. Udayam, there are things which you need to be registering your company startups. And then I did. And simultaneously, I had opportunity to get interviewed at a local institution, which is some 1.5 hours from my home, which is called Achyuta Institute of Optometry, and where they were also very supportive. When those mentors, Dr. Bala Subramaniam and Dr. Saranya Sachi Bala Subramaniam, they are a couple of ophthalmologists and optometrists. So when I said, okay, I'm willing to join your institution if you tell me, okay, there won't be any aspect on conflicts of
Yeah.
running my concern. So they were actually very happy, and they were UK trained. So they are like, okay, we will also give you some clients. You are going to do it when you are in home. So we are okay. And if I'm not wrong, May 29th, I launched the company and inaugurated by Dr. Ramesh and Dr. Rizwana. So for next 3 months, I did not have any client. I was only doing promotions. Mainly, I did not stop my promotions at any cost. I
Hmm.
was keep running some flyers showing, okay, this is what I do, and I kept the pricing also very nominal. I know the price points of other consultancies right now, even now. I'm not behind money so far because I have converted it as a business, but I am not trying to loot any money because if you see the other consultancies, they are charging huge lump sum for writing articles, proposals without the intervention of the person who wants to pursue the PhD or the research. It's all called ghostwriting and
Yeah.
ethically conflicting from my side. So I went on, okay, I will charge per hour basis. Initial consultation I gave it for free. I ran couple of online sessions for free webinars. And then I also started my YouTube channel. As you are doing as a podcast, I approached peer researchers, faculty members, and I made them to share their perspectives and research knowledge. I named it as Spark Series. And then I went on doing it on PhD scholars internationally. If you know, last week I did one Spark series within Indian panel as a panel discussion within PhD scholars. So that's another thing I'm doing. Also, my Opto Research Consultancy Services with respect to mainly data analysis, manuscript revision, revising, and submission. And why I focused on these two things? Because data analysis is something I am always passionate about. I
Hmm.
learned the data analysis aspects from my undergraduation time and gradually build it upon. Even now, if you go and ask any PhD scholar or a faculty member, they will tell you two reasons because they are not able to do a data analysis. Either they will tell, okay, I'm not able to clean the data and then import it in software, run whatever statistical methods needs to be done, or they do not have time. So these are the two selling points for me. So I capitalize these two aspects. Okay, you do not have time. Okay, let me take care of the data. You provide
Hmm.
me the details, and I will clean. And I'm going to charge as well as for the cleaning the data because cleaning the data is going to take 3 to 4 hours of time two aspects. So I will give you the data. This is how you want me to clean, and then you give back the data, clean data. I'm not going to charge for that. Otherwise, if you do not have time, I will take care of the data cleaning and analysis till interpretation. Then we can discuss over online. We will okay see what is possible, what is not possible. So initial consultations were like this, and paper writings also were like this. So I had my first client in September or October 2022, and that was Dr. Murtuza, Ibrahim Murtuza, who is in UAE right now.
Yeah.
So I did entire analysis for him. So he was my first PhD client. And then gradually things happened. I was also promoting about Opto Research in various platforms. In LinkedIn, right now we have around 4,000 followers for Opto Research LinkedIn page, 2,000 plus followers in our Instagram page. And I do also have my broadcast list in my WhatsApp so that I regularly send. So I used all the social media platform effectively so that I can reach out to people maximum. And then next year I first year happened, and then on the year one we had new programs rolling out. We thought we'll collaborate with people. That's when we collaborated with Vision Science Academy, who is with Dr. Abhishek.
Yeah.
We ran couple of programs, and then another set of team came, that is Prismatic Visionary Solutions, where they were like you are a part of it, and Dr. Rizwana, and then Fakhruddin and Zulfi. So I think that was the right decision which I took, because that you guys were doing phenomenal advertisements. I took care of the developing the program and courseworks. We had a clarity what has to be done by whom,
Yeah.
and we trained over, I think, over 100 to 150 faculty members and researchers, mainly focusing research writing paper thing. So this is what happened for the last, I mean, till second year. Maybe I'll give a pass now. Third year, so many good things happened. So it's been 3 years I launched Opto Research. Till second year of Opto Research time, I was actually approaching people. People were not approaching me. From third year, things were on the other side. I right now I do not have time to sit and discuss with my clients. So many clients I'm actually getting now. So I will just give a pause. Maybe you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again I want to summarize because I think you have so many things that are so critical and so important. The fact that, you decided something and you launched in a week. I think it's very important. Sometimes we try to have like the perfect time or a perfect logo or a perfect name. Like there's nothing perfect, right? Things can iterate. You can start with like just your name and then, you can have different versions. In the field of like products, they call it MVP, like minimum viable product, which basically is like, is this clear enough to start something? It could be very basic, it could be something that you change. Every product on this earth, I've always started with this, and that's why even today, even though you might have a phone or an iPhone which has been developed for decades now, you still have different versions and upgrades, right? That's what it is. It can always get better. So I think that's what you have done. Like in a week, you decided, you spoke to two people. I'm like, I'm just going to go for it, not knowing what the challenges were. But I think going ahead and just, for everyone who's listening, if you're stuck with any idea, if you're stuck with something, this is your time. Just go ahead and do it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe within a week. Don't wait because there's never a right time. The other thing that I really enjoyed that you shared was the fact that, ethically doing it and making sure that there is no conflict of interest, because sometimes though you were pushing and you were, pursuing your mission and vision for 3 months without any clients, and for almost 2 years you were trying to kind of stay afloat, you still needed to feed your family and take care of the finances. So it's always important to kind of do it the right way by being open to, say, if you're working with another institute and telling them like, hey, this is non-negotiable, this is my baby, I'm going to work on it, but that does not mean I'm going to compromise on my day job. I think I've done the same thing with my podcast, because I do have another full-time day job. I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do everything, but I can do a podcast at night or early morning. That should not be that should not interfere. So I think something on those clarity and making sure that, you maintain those fine lines, it really helps you in the long run. You might feel that there is a struggle initially. Others are more successful, or others have got so much money. and you're struggling, though you're more qualified. But this will help you stay stronger, healthier, and more respected for the long term versus others who might have all the money initially, but then struggle once, they realize where the real value is. So I think those are a couple of great learnings for me as well as for people who are listening and trying to do something new. But also now that you said, like, now you have no time for the clients, and I think that's a great space to be in as a consultant. And you've identified what are your strength in terms of research. So tell me about like your first conversation with that client, or like the conversations now that you had with the client. Like those struggles are real, like, because I don't know how you are and if you have anything. I'm very awkward talking about money. And do you have any tips there? Like, how do you say, like, okay, I have all the qualifications, everybody loves everything that's free, but you want to respect yourself and your time. So, talking about money can be very challenging. Do you have any tips there? How did you navigate that space?
So what I do is I give them a package. Usually, what I do, this is okay. This is how much time I'm going to take, and you believe me, I initial times all these things happen because of reference. So I had good friends of mine from other departments, so they were referring to me. So I had to give them some good discounts.
Hmm.
So that's a one selling point where I gave them good 10-15% of discount so that, okay, I'm okay for that. And they were like, and I also gave them the current scenario from other consultancies. I gave a price point. Okay, this is what they are actually charging X, Y, Z. And for the particular work I'm doing, I'm going to charge this. And all these are going to be a long run. And I'm here for you for a much longer time compared to other consultant. First, this is what I started with. And initial times there were again so much of problems when it comes to money. And I charge only 400 rupees as a consultation charges for per hour initial times. Right now, my charges are 1000 rupees.
Hmm.
So I doubled almost 2.5 times I've increased now within 2 years. And people are ready to pay.
Hmm.
They look at the quality, they look at how premium you are providing, and also they are actually looking for fast track charges. Some people be like, okay, I need the data analysis to be done by tomorrow. I would tell them, okay, if you want me to do it tomorrow, I will charge 50% from the
Hmm.
actual invoice extra. They're actually ready to pay. So they look at the quality and how fast you're able to give the thing. And one interesting catch and positive aspect for me was I am an optometrist and I understand all ophthalmological terms. So initial times I had most of them from eye care. And when they, so for example, I support DNB students for their sample size calculation. So far, I have given around 40 to 50 sample size calculations for DNB ophthalmology graduates. And when I approach them, when they approach me, they start with be like, okay, you are a biostatistician. They start like this. And I
Hmm.
say, I'm an optometrist. You just directly jump to your question and they explain within a minute and then I understand it. I talk to with their language. They're
Hmm.
very comfortable. They
Nice.
are like they knows everything.
That's
And
really
I yeah, I totally forgot to tell something. One more thing. 2022 August or October ASCON conference was happening in Bangalore, and I did not make any money. As you remember, I had no clients till 5 months, and I decided, okay, let me spend 10,000 rupees. I made posters. I made flyers, I made everything, whatever possible. I put it in the ASCON conference. Through ASCON, actually, I got a opportunity to interact with one senior ophthalmologist from a reputed organization in Bangalore. From him, still today, I'm actually getting clients.
Hmm.
Not okay. I people were like, why are you spending 10,000 bucks without even making 1 rupee? So from that 10,000 rupees actually helped me to my like multifold more than 10 times so far.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's the and I used all the conferences wherever I go. I made sure okay I promote Opto Research and since I am also associated with academia, every month I have been called as a speaker in somewhere.
Hmm.
So wherever I go, I look for potential collaborations apart from my academic aspect. So this is how, and also the price points. And if you ask me, I told about the initial difficulties I faced. Now there is no problem at all because I tell them this is the entire cost it's going to be. If you're okay, I'm going to take it forward. If you're not okay, it's okay, and I can support in other aspects. So you want me to still support for other aspects, like instead of data analysis, you want for manuscript writing. I'm here to support. And most clients are okay because they want quality of work
Yeah.
and within the time bound. So that's the key when it comes to monetary aspects.
Yeah, I think you shared a couple of very great ideas. Like the fact that, in every business, you have to invest something to kind of get the returns. So I think that 10,000 rupees is a huge amount when you're starting from scratch, but like using it wisely and making sure you get one client. You're not looking for 10 clients, right? Or 10,000 clients, but getting that one client who is going to help you in the long run is what your goal is. And also the fact that sometimes you don't always have to be money minded. You might want to first establish yourself what you've done for like two years because of your quality and the kind of work you've realized what your strengths are, what will make you more money versus something else. Playing around with certain strengths helped you kind of identify what is the most valuable asset that you can provide to your clients. I think that's a great way to kind of create some shifts within your business to identify what you might think, okay, I want people are looking for manuscript writers, or like researchers are looking for someone who can do their statistics, but maybe they're looking for someone who can just clean the data, and that's where the money is. So you are shifting within your same business. I think that mindset is very important and great. And also the fact that once the fact that say sometimes people are not able to pay, that does not mean you don't build the relationship by offering them something different, or even not taking it personally, like, oh my god, why are they not ready to pay? You're not taking it to the heart and like, I'm never going to talk to you. You're taking it in a way where, okay, if not on this, what can we do to find maybe something that is more long-term collaboration. It might start free, not even like a penny, but then it could turn into something completely different that you're not expected. So I think those are some great learnings and great experiences that you shared, and I'm sure people who are struggling to stay afloat with some of their own ideas, they might feel that they're not alone. Everybody goes through this. Is I think entrepreneurs struggle days. Everybody goes through this, and then there'll be light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly true, Ukti. So I will also share. I will take a minute and then share about the third year journey, which I stopped earlier.
Yeah.
So during starting of this year, like January, many people were approaching me. Okay, why don't you start some programs like courseworks and then give it for the people? And then that's when I launched Opto Research Academy, and where it was focused only mainly for premium people who wants to pay and learn. I charge all my programs up to 2,500 to 3,000 rupees just for 4 hours of online session.
Mhm.
Believe me, again, people were very skeptical, saying, okay, no one is going to take the program. And I used a different strategy where I will give a free 30-minute online session where 100 people joins. My aim is to convert only 10% of those for my full program. So that's the strategy I followed for all my programs. And so far, 200 plus people have registered for all my courseworks. Everything is premium. I have not kept anything less. So I have also run a couple of programs or the courseworks which are less price for undergraduate students. Only for 1 hour of session, maybe 200 rupees. That's the price point difference you can see, 2,500 to 200.
Yeah.
So premium workshops, my target is different audience.
Mm.
The low level is my different target audience. So with these two aspects, I also thought, and this is not going to be sustainable if I'm going to only look for individual clients.
Yeah.
That's when I thought, okay, let me collaborate with institutions. And I gave a proposal. Again, it was a random one day thought. I was traveling back from my office to home, and I was thinking, okay, why don't we sign MOUs with institutions? And I
Yeah.
approached one institution in Salem, which is an university. In fact, they have School of Allied Health Sciences, over 20 programs with 150 faculty members, and we have trained 300 faculties for, I have trained individually 300 plus faculties for writing manuscripts. That's the first MOU. And then I decided, okay, I want to increase the MOUs and look at only hospital associated with institutions or universities. All my targets are like that. And then I went on local institution. All these premium institutions are actually in metro cities like Chennai, Coimbatore, and Salem. I thought, okay, there won't be much of appreciation or uptake towards these MOUs within the local institution. And to my surprise, I visited there as well. They are actually supporting. They have huge amount of funding for research,
Uh-huh.
like crores and crores, which is unutilized because they do not have a person to take it up. So right now, I have signed 6 MOUs with one university, five institutions, one bigger institution, and it's so far it's only me. And for the last 6 months, because of all the overloads, I had to convert my full day job to part time. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, for the last 6 months, I have been going to my academic institution only 3 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday. I dedicate my entire day for Opto Research. So during that time, I visit institutions, I train people, and then look at travels. All those things I do that time. And again, my current bosses are very supportive for those. They were like, okay, Gopi, you're not able to handle it. Okay, it's okay. Go ahead. Just make sure you give your best support during your visit at the institution. So this is the journey so far. I thought I will
Yeah,
wrap it
no,
in.
that's great. Honestly, from like, consultancy to academy and to constantly seeing these gaps and tweaking your business. I think that's the key of a great entrepreneur. And this is not the first time I've heard. I have interviewed a couple of entrepreneurs and they have said the same thing. Like, one, you need to start. There is no right time. And the second thing is to you listen to the audience and like, tweak your business because sometimes you might come up with a great idea which is very close to you, but that is not the real problem. The real problem where you can provide solution might be in like tweaking your businesses and like creating these kind of different options so you can increase your market segment from 200 to say 2000, like creating courses or like collaborating with universities. I think those are great ideas. Again, for people who are stuck and who are listening to this, I'm sure they'll be truly inspired. But I actually want to dive into my favorite topic, which I know is yours as well, AI. And it's not really a buzzword anymore. We all use it. We feel it's like it's obviously AI, right? We treat it as if it's always been our best friend forever. But I have known you and the fact that you are using AI and you're specialized AI. Like people are scared, they are still struggling to understand, but you are someone who have directly jumped into using AI. You are training people to on how to use AI for your benefit and not be scared of it. So tell me a little more about like your journey into AI and how you mastered it and what services are you offering in terms of training?
So how I ended up using AI, again from my mentor, Dr. Rajiv Raman, who is in US right now. He's an ophthalmologist. And that was the time I got my comments for my PhD thesis, November 2022. And we were, myself, my guides, both of them were not able to find an answer. So, okay, that was the time ChatGPT was launched. And Dr. Rajiv Raman was like, Gopi, there is a tool like this. And I was aware that time about ChatGPT. And he made me, okay, put this comment and then ask it for an answer. And it gave a wonderful answer. Even the reviewer and the examiner was very satisfied. From that time, I think I have been using AI for the last 3 years effectively, and I always use it ethically. I make sure I do not pull in or push any of my personal details or my client details there. And also some most of the times I do not put any of my clients' data there. and manuscripts there. I use it only for proofreading and mainly for grammar check, and then look at the flow. Or if I'm having a brain fog, I'm not able to start from where, then I chip in some of my ideas and then it gives an outline and I take it from there. So it's not that you have to rely 100% on an AI, and you cannot say, okay, this does not give you better answers. You have to choose and pick which tool you are going to use it for what purpose. So
Hmm.
if you are going for data analysis, understanding the data, then there are tools. If you are going for okay, you want to develop a coursework itself through I have developed multiple of my courseworks only using AI. So Google AI Studio is a place where it's a free tool and you can explore as much as you can. It can record. You can, if you are lazy about typing your prompt, then go ahead and record your as a recording, and then that can extract the prompt from there and then do the work. And I also wrote a book on prompt writing,
Mm.
and I ran a program like coursework on that as well. So what difficulties I faced during writing the prompts was how effectively we can write. So
Yeah.
there were programs in online courseworks like SkillUp. There is a course called Effective Prompt Writing. I took up the course and then decided, okay, let me write a prompt book for research proposal writing. So I crafted around 310 prompts only for proposal writing. So if you want to write introduction part and then take up couple of prompts from there and then add it in any large language models like ChatGPT or Gemini, and it is going to do the rest of the work. The prompt matters.
Oh,
So this is
absolutely. It's as good as your prompt, honestly. Otherwise, it can sometimes feel it's just crap. And sometimes you feel like you can get frustrated because you are expecting it to do a good job, but not realizing that it's so much to do with the prompts or the right question. And that's itself is like a learning curve or a skill. I think that's a great book that you have kind of, converted it for specifically for researchers. Again, I think like the way you think and like develop things at a lightning speed in like 3 years, I think it's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. So I use mostly Notebook LM, and that's from Google AI Studio for my manuscript support. And again for ChatGPT in a smaller way where if I'm not able to understand something, I just put it in the ChatGPT. Otherwise, now we have in Google itself, there is a component of AI. So
Yeah.
if you want to search something, even for research, you just go there and then search for it. So far, I have not subscribed for any of the AI tools. Like I use only the free versions. I'm not. I don't get any money for using or training people. So I have clear financial none of the financial disclosures. So I also tell my clients, okay, if you want to use this as a package, like 10 of you are going to use it for 1 month and then extract all the possible details from that particular tool, go for a paid version.
Yeah, makes sense because that's where it's even secured versus using a free version and then you don't know where your data or how your data is being used. So I think I really like the fact that, though you're doing so many things, the fact that ethics and an ethical approach has been your core principle is what I've as much as I've known you. And I think I would want to emphasize for anyone out there, sometimes shortcuts are using ChatGPT, putting all the data might be like an easiest thing, but is it the right thing? Let's always ask that question. If we are trying to use these tools, it's very, very important to use it correctly versus just using it. And correctly does not just mean right prompts, it also means ethically and not giving away people's data. I think those are great things. And I know you said like, you're doing so many things. Now I want to ask before we go into our game segment, I want to ask you one question. Like, tell me about any major challenges or roadblocks, because I'm sure doing so many things. I know you highlighted about the fact that you didn't have any clients for the first 3 months, but is there something that was like really heartbreaking or where you were really struggling, and then how did you overcome that?
So the key heartbreaks, I won't say heartbreaks, difficulties I faced is the time management.
Hmm.
That was very difficult because as an entrepreneur, when you jump into any entrepreneurship, you have to work 24/7. It's not your employed where your employer pays you monthly and then you just go and come back. And that's one thing. And another, like as I mentioned, I was fortunate to have good connections. So
Mm,
that helped me overcome lots and lots of barriers because they were since I had a good grade during my undergraduate, post graduation times, whenever someone approaches me or gets a background check about me,
mm,
people were positive about me. So that those things were not a difficult at all for me. But otherwise, when it comes to time management, that was the most difficult. Even now, I feel because a couple of days I was busy with my family orientation and I had to bring my second daughter home back, so things were I did not touch my laptop for 3 days, and I had made sure I had assured couple of my clients that I will give their work done by on October 1st or 2nd, but still have not completed. So I feel very guilty and feel very bad when I'm not able to complete it on time because I'm always being punctual. So
yeah.
ethics and punctual are the two aspects I believe in my work profile. So that I learned it from my father because he was at big different places and from my mentors as well. So time management is the problem, and yeah, personal, professional, other things are okay. I'm able to balance my family. That's not a big deal. My wife is very supportive, and I'm able to manage that. Otherwise, giving it on time to the client and some many a times convincing also is difficult. I mentioned right earlier times
Mm,
that to prove them, okay, this is possible. So what I do, I get all the clients' testimonials, put it in as a Word document or put it in my flyer, add it or as a voice note. That I make sure I do it on regular basis so that people doesn't forget me. So
mm,
I am a person where I send at least one flyer or one information every week in my all my social medias and broadcasting places, so that when anyone thinks about data analysis and AI data analysis, manuscript writing, who wants to approach, they should only remember go Opto Research. I
yeah.
make sure that happens.
I
That's how
think
I
incredible. Yeah. I think that's actually the key. Like, constantly establishing your brand, your name, your identity, and the trust. I think that's very important, especially in today's world where we are surrounded with so much of data and information. It's very easy to forget. You know, if you're out of sight, it could definitely be out of mind. So it's very important. And you did highlight about the amount of work that was. And of course, we all have a personal lives and life happens. And I know you have two daughters, and congratulations on having a second kid. Managing so many things along with family is no easy task. So I truly, truly appreciate your commitment and like everything that you're doing. But I think with that, it's time for us to go to our game segment. We know a lot about how your work life is and what you do at work. But I think it would be nice to know you, Gopi, as a person. And I think we're going to dive into a rapid fire segment where I'm just going to ask you a few questions to learn a little more about you. And of course, just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
sure. I've never done this.
All right, so let's have some fun because sometimes it's always good to add some fun to this conversation. So my first question, tell me about your favorite destination.
Uh, right now, Manipal.
Okay.
Like yeah, I was there for 8 years, so I love Manipal. Yeah.
All right. Tell me something that you do in your downtime, nothing to do with eye care or optometry. Like tell me about your hobby or something you like to do during your downtime.
I'm a movie freak. If you ask me to go for movies on theaters, I don't watch it in my TV or my OTTs. I watch it in theater. So you
Nice.
watch every day. I'll watch.
All right.
In spite of language, in spite of the region specific, I don't have any problem. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you have any favorite movies or
Uh,
movie? Your all-time
mm,
favorite movie that you like to watch?
that will be like Nayagan, which is in Tamil. Like it's 30 years old. 30, 40 years. So I watch it every often. Like that has so much of emotions. People who have never watched, they should watch. It's from Mani Ratnam, who is a very famous director. He has done
Yes.
all over India, like multiple languages. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Good to know. I'll definitely check that out. Tell me about your favorite cuisine. Like, what kind of food do you like?
Uh, I am a Tamil person. I am a like you give me a meal of South Indian thali. I am very happy. Yeah. I am more towards Indian cuisine only. Yeah.
That's nice. And if you were to interview a guest or any person, dead or alive, who would that be and what would you like to ask them?
Uh, that's a tough question. Okay. Maybe from my personal life, I have couple of my friends whom I'm missing out, like who are from my 12th standard, 11th, 12th standards friends. One person is Mr. Dayas Shankar, who is a very good close friend of mine. He did his engineering graduation and then he took up a Japanese course and he cleared all the levels. Now he's a Japanese translator and educator. He settled down in Japan. I would actually interview him. How did it happen? Because he's known to me for 25 years of like relationship, and I would actually interview him. Reason
That's
thought the times I am seeing his post in LinkedIn saying he's become a Japanese educator as well.
that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. Completely shifting gears, learning a new language. I think that's great. If you had to give an advice to your younger self, what would that be?
Mm, future is bright. Don't think of anything. Just go ahead.
All right. And if we were to write an autobiography about your journey, what would you like the title to be?
Life is a roller coaster.
Well, isn't it? I agree. I completely agree to that. And the last question, one thing about the eye care industry that excites you the most.
Patient care and the satisfaction at the end of the day after you prescribe a pair of spectacles or contacts and especially in low vision I have had experiences where people like giving away gifts more over 10,000 rupees as just for 1 hour of my time giving their confidence. So patient satisfaction is the personal satisfaction from the patient is the key in eye care profession. Yeah.
Wonderful. With that, we do definitely know a little more about you. Next time we meet, whenever and wherever, we'll try to find a South Indian thali and probably share a meal together. I definitely am looking forward to that. Or and maybe even go for a movie because I also like watching movies. Though I prefer a language that I can understand, but if you can translate and if we can watch it, why not? With that, I think it has been a great, great episode with all the learnings that I had. And before we wrap up, if you have a final takeaway message for all my listeners.
Enjoy your life. Don't keep anything in your like heart. Like if you want to push something like what I did in terms of rolling out company, just roll it out and let's see what the universe has to say. I always believe do the effort, process it properly, and don't look at the positive outcome. Universe will take care of it. So my boss is always they say just do the process, don't look at the results, universe will take care. So universe is taking care of me. So that's the one positive I want to end with that positive note.
That's wonderful. I truly enjoyed. Thank you once again, Dr. Gopi, for all the insights, all the learning, and sharing such a positive note for all of us out here who are probably struggling to kind of do something new. And with so much that you are doing, I'm sure we can all push our boundaries as well. Thank you once again for all your time. And for all the listeners, I highly, highly recommend you to check out Dr. Gopi's consultancy services, his LinkedIn profile. Try to join his broadcast group if you want to learn a little more. And if you have any questions, even beyond consultancy, just as a researcher, he is your person to be. Because trust me, like person like me who have absolutely no research background have learned so much from him. So I can vouch for the kind of information he can share. So do check out his profile, connect with him, and let's support each other as a community. So thank you once again, Dr. Gopi, for all your time. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you, Nerdy Optometry team and you for having me, and I really enjoyed the entire podcast. This is my first podcast as an interviewing person. Like I have interviewed people, never been the other side. I really Thank you so much.